So shall we start today now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's say last time we studied till here, right? I was talking about all these. What is the what is the container? What all these are the virtual machines? And now today I'm just going to talk about AWS Global Infrastructure, right? So I did write actually the date also here. So today we have to start from here, AWS Global Infrastructure. Before that, let me tell you few things that is really very important. For example, uh, the first of all, I need to talk about, what is AWS, and you know that what is the AWS. And after that, I'll talk about global infrastructure. And first of all, the why AWS, that you should know why you're just going to choose AWS. And once it is done, we will start AWS global infrastructure, right? So guys, I'm here. So first of all, I'm just going to talk about the AWS. So as you know that AWS is the world's most comprehensive and broadly used cloud platform. Everybody knows about it. AWS is offering more than 200 fully featured services from their global infrastructure, or you can say or you can say from the data center, which are globally available on different regions. So we'll talk about what all these regions are. AWS has a million of customers, including startups, largest enterprises, and leading government agencies. Not only private entrepreneurs or companies are using, even government leading agencies are also using cloud computing. AWS is trusted by over millions of customers of all type. So we have in AWS mixed kind of users. People trust AWS infrastructure because it is more agile and available at low cost. Why AWS? Why we are using AWS? There are number of reasons we are using AWS. We identified some factors on which we can take technological and commercial advantages. So the first thing is AWS cloud infrastructure, right? So why we are choosing AWS? Because of AWS cloud infrastructure. AWS cloud, you're going to say global infrastructure. So this is the power, right? So this is the power of AWS. Business houses around the world are moving to cloud-based infrastructure to increase IT agility, scalability, improve reliability, and low cost, and a flexibility to expand operations. So we have multiple advantages, but the major advantage that you really feel that the first is AWS free tier account, because AWS is providing free tier account, right? And this free tier account is available with you for entire 1 year. So in the beginning, the people had no idea about AWS. What is AWS? How to start AWS? How to work on AWS? Therefore, AWS allows you to create free tier account, and with few simple steps, and this is very easy. And it allows us to gain hands-on experience with the AWS platform, AWS products, and AWS services, absolutely free of cost, with some limitations, of course, because we are not using business account here. We are using free tier account, and this free tier account is only for learning process, right? So we have some limitations. So time to time, I'll talk about the limitations of the services, means how much limitations you have. Let's say you have EC2. So in EC2, what instance type you can select, and what maximum size of the EBS volume you can give, or what kind of AMIs you can select. So all these are available with the limitation, and it is very transparent. If you move on, actually, if you use AWS console, everything is written over there. Even if you are new, if you just concentrate, you're going to find each and every information very clearly, very transparently. Second advantage of accepting AWS is performance. Why I'm telling about the performance, because you always compare performance of one server with another server on the basis of the configuration. So in the physical environment, generally you see the configuration of the server, and then you decide which server is the best one, or which server has some advantages. In a similar way, we also are using some hardware in data centers of AWS. So in AWS, EC2 instances gives you a Xeon class of performance. Xeon is a Intel processor, and this is a server based Xeon processor, right? So whatever this machine you are creating on AWS, that machine will give you Xeon class of performance, and its operation is far better than the most private data centers. So if you're just comparing, so these machines are fast and these machines performing well as compared to all these are server machines, by the way. In addition, AWS provides multi-availability zone per region. In every region, we have multiple availability zone to maintain high availability. So right now, if you don't know about what is the availability zone, in a few minutes, I'm just going to tell you about what is the availability zone. Availability zone, by the way, is a part of a region. Second advantage that we see why we are using AWS is deployment speed. deployment speed so in AWS, deployment speed is high as compared to your data center. Means if you install any application, if you launch any configuration, that doesn't take much time. In a few seconds or a few minutes, your machine or application is ready to deploy. In a traditional way, usually you take number of hours to provision a server, but the same task or server deployment can be completed in a few minutes on AWS. So we will study all these things in detail, and how to use template of machine and what kind of a configuration you can take. Even we have the different network speed that you connect with the EC2 instances, but gradually you will see all these things one by one. In deployment speed also does depend on the kind of hypervisor you are using on for virtualizations. I told you in my last class, we are using Zen hypervisor and Nitro hypervisor in AWS. Zen is a product of Citrix, which works on AWS data center, and Nitro hypervisors is a product of AWS, right? So if you see high configuration machine, so on those machines we are using Nitro hypervisors, right? Or we can say Nitro machines. Next is the next advantage that I see is security, right? Security in AWS instances and the network are well secured. Everything means your infrastructure is well secured. Access to these resources can be restricted using identity and access management. So IAM, identity and access management. So this is a service for the security, and because of the security, your resources, your access to the resources, everything is well secured. And we will study all these things in detail, right? AWS also allows you to secure AWS infrastructure. You can secure your resources using DDoS mitigation attack. So we generally face the mitigation attacks or DDoS attack. So all such kind of attacks can be secured by using the different kind of policies, different kind of firewalls we have. We have number of firewalls, and we have an option to introduce our traditional firewall also in AWS. So data encryption also is allowed in various services. If you want to secure your data, So during the transit or during the rest, while your data was at rest, you can apply encryption. And other number of operations are also available for security, such as monitoring, logging, penetration testing, identity, and access control, etc. So all these things we will see. But everything that you create, whether it is a deployment of the softwares, whether you're creating your network or EC2 instances, or you're transiting the data, or you're saving data in AWS, everything is secure. So security is basically applicable on a different layer, right? So we will study all these things in detail. Second is flexibility. As we already talked about the flexibility, I was saying that this is the most important feature of AWS, and you can have completely customized solutions. AWS enables you to select, means operating system, programming language, and web application platform, database, and other services that you need with AWS, right? It means you can choose any configuration to launch your machine. You can choose any operating system. You can choose any programming language, or you can choose any web application platform. You have multiple databases in it, and other flexibility also is there. So you have complete liberty to choose as per your requirement, as per your project requirement. Now, so these are few actually benefits we see in AWS, and because of this, AWS is number one. But the major advantage that I see in AWS is AWS Global Infrastructure. So if you see, so this is the basically my global infrastructure throughout the world. So this is the world map. So AWS Global Infrastructure is built to deliver AWS cloud services with highest quality and performance. AWS provides services throughout the world in more than 245 countries and continent or territories, right? And AWS cloud infrastructure, what we see in AWS management console, is built around region and availability zone. So all this global infrastructure is divided into regions and availability zone. So if you see this diagram, right? So in this, we have multiple regions. If you see blue color circles, these are the current and live regions. And but few regions are going to shortly, you will see. So these all are going to come in orange color. So this way, right now we have total 26 regions, 26. And I think 7 or 8 more regions are going to be joined to this number of regions. And cloud, actually AWS cloud spans in more than 80 availability zone, 80 availability, more than 80 availability zone, and 26 geographical location. So these 26 geographical locations are known as region. If somebody is asking what is a region, region is a region is what? So region is an independent and separate geographic location. So first of all, I'll just need to tell you, let's say, because you are new, so I'll start very slowly so you can understand. Let's say this is an example of one region. Let's say this is the one region. I took Mumbai region here. In order to understand any region, you have to understand that every region is a group of multiple availability zones. Let's say in Mumbai, we have 3 availability zones, right? And these 3 availability zones are connected so tightly together, and they are independent as well as tightly connected together. Number 2, every availability zone is a group of data center. So this availability zone is a group of data center. This availability zone also is a group of data center. So all these actually that I just created here, these are single data. So this is single data center. So group of data center is known as availability zone. So one availability zone is separate from another availability zone. So this way, in one region, you can have multiple availability zones. So maximum availability zone we have in North Virginia. We have 6 availability zone in North Virginia, right? So it is clear what is a region. Region is an independent and separate geographic location, and every region is linked with multiple isolated locations, and these locations are known as availability zone, and every availability zone is a group of data center. I think you will remember. So when you start any AWS account to create EC2 instance, the first you select a region. So when you launch your machine, very first thing that you do, you select a region, and within the region you select a availability zone. For example, let me tell you, let's say this is your AWS management console. So on right hand side on the top, these are the basically list of regions. So you very first you select a region, right? Let's say North Virginia region, we have a Mumbai region, Ohio region, North California, Oregon. So all these are regions. This way 26 regions we have in this AWS global infrastructure. Today we have to create one more instance, for example. So I'll show you during that if I got the time, right? But before that, let me tell you, all these things are very important. So if this is clear, now let's say I'm just going down. Okay, this diagram will tell you a little more about this global infrastructure. In this, what I did, let's say this is a one region, right? And this is another region. So these two regions are connected through this red box, right? What is this red box? I'll tell you. Similarly, one availability zone and another availability zone, both are connected with this red box again. And similarly, within the availability zone, you have multiple data centers, right? You're going to see all these are the multiple data centers, and all these data centers are connected with these red boxes. So these red boxes here is known as edge location. What is called it as edge location? So edge location is where end users access services located at AWS. Or you can say edge locations is being used to provide connectivity between data centers, between availability zones, or between regions. Or these edge locations can also be known as mini data centers. So sometimes we call them as mini data centers. And sometimes in AWS Global Infrastructure, we have a concept of points of presence, right? We have a concept of the points of presence. So the point of presence basically is an encapsulation of edge location. And what is the edge location? Edge location is containing network devices. Yes, edge location is containing servers, and which will help you to actually the cache flowing data. Or you can say edge locations can also be used for CDN, for content delivery network. So by the way, edge locations are providing connectivity between data centers, availability zones, and these are the connecting points where the data is being stored for distribution. So in edge locations, we have networking devices, routers, switches, kind of things, and servers to cache the flowing data, right? I think this is more than sufficient to understand about the global infrastructure. So we have regions, availability zones, data centers, and edge locations. So this way, it is basically distributed, and every region has its code. For example, Mumbai has a code AP South 1. Similarly, all these availability zones are basically containing their name, or all these availability zone has their names like AP South 1A, AP South 1B, AP South 1C. So every availability zone and region has its own code, and that you have
Sir,
to
what
remember.
is this naming convention? What is this naming convention? AP means?
AP means Asia Pacific South 1.
Okay. Sorry.
AP stand for Asia Pacific South 1. And after 1, if you are putting A, is a availability zone, first availability zone. 1B is a second availability zone, and 1C is a third availability zone. So this way, they did provide the naming convention, right? Now, few more things that you can understand. Let me show you, because this is not yet over. If you write, let's say AWS Global Infrastructure, so this page will open. And I'm going to share the link of this page. Let's say this is the link, and I'm sharing the link among you on chat. So this is the link. I think you might have received this one. So mini data centers are physically present, or it's a complete, mini data centers are physically present, right? So mini data center, Farooq, is available physically, right? Okay. Now, in this global infrastructure, if you scroll down, you will see a number of exciting things. Just let's say this is the information that you have. We have 26 regions, 84 availability zones. In these 26 regions, we have 17 local zones. Local zone is a new concept, as well as the wavelength zone, 24 wavelength zones. So local zone and wavelength zone is basically a new concept they just introduced few couple of years back, because earlier it was not there. But because the new technology is coming, and you understand, so they are providing the different kind of a models. So they just introduced the local zone and wavelength zone. But you will not use these local zones and wavelength zone in free tier account. It is not needed anymore. It is needed only to create your own infrastructure privately in AWS Global Infrastructure. Let me show you. For example, uh, I'm talking about the local zone. Here, the local zone. What is the local zone? In order to understand local zone, what can I do? Let me show you. Yes, do we have? Yes, I can do one thing. Let's say, you have number of cities with you, right? Let's say you have number of city. I'm talking about, let's say I'm talking about India, right? Let's say these are the cities. These are the some cities. Let's say this is Mumbai, right? This is Mumbai. Mumbai is a region. So Mumbai is a region. So we have a presence of AWS Global Infrastructure in Mumbai. Let's say this is a region. But we have other cities also, like Pune in India. And let's say we have a Bangalore. Bangalore also is very famous for IT industry. And third, you can name, I think, Hyderabad. Am I correct? I'm not taking
Yes,
Delhi.
sir.
Yeah, Hyderabad. Let's say
Yes.
these are the some cities.
First Hyderabad, then
Yeah,
sorry, first Bangalore's, Hyderabad, and then Mumbai.
and Pune also is there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, so what I'm just trying to say, so we have a region in Mumbai, but let's say what AWS is saying, because they observe that in Bangalore, we have a presence of IT industry. We have number of, IT firms or companies, or maybe some plants are there, some industries are there. So let's say Pune and Hyderabad also is known for some companies, as well as some uh, units known as industry or industrial hub. So let's say these are either industrial hub or IT hub. So near these, we don't find any AWS global infrastructure. So if somebody, let's say we have a company in Bangalore, and they want to create their own private data center using AWS, right, separately. So we don't have that provision right now, so near to this particular location. So what they decided, they're saying that through all over the world, they recognized, means AWS recognized some major cities where they can launch their some data centers, and these data centers will provide resources to these industries are located in these cities, so they can access and create their own data center kind of infrastructure in that location. So such zones are known as local zones, right? Let's say these are local zones. So these are the local zones. So these are local zones. I don't know. I think in India, we don't have any local zone right now, as of now, but gradually they are just going to create local zones. They are just going to create more local zones. So we have some local zones. I can show you the list of the local zones. Let's say in AWS Global Infrastructure, if you see EC2, I think it is in EC2 or not. Let me start. Let me start. This is a dashboard. And right inside, you can see under the account attributes, you see one option, zones. Do you see zones? If you click on this, you can find number of local zones. So these are the local zones. So as of now, we have a local zones in North Virginia. We have Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, right? Kansas, Miami. So all these are the cities where the local zones are available. So right now, these local zones are disabled in my account. But if you want to manage it, if you want to enable it, you have to just click on this and you can enable it and you're going to start using these local zones. Local zones are providing dedicated resources and you will get the least latency for your client, for your project, and if you are accessing it. And we are assuming that these are more secure as compared to availability zone, because availability zone for everyone, but local zone you are only choosing when you want to create your dedicated resources or private infrastructure. In that case, you can choose local zone, and local zones are available near to industrial hub or IT hub, right? So this is basically the main purpose, to create near to industrial hub. Secondly, we have one more option, I think one different kind of zone, and this is called wavelength zone. So these are basically the list of wavelength zone. In Verizon, we have in North Virginia. So we have, as of now, we have limited wavelength zone. So total 24 wavelength zones we have. But what is a wavelength zone and what is the purpose of the wavelength zone? If you go there and if you just open the wavelength zone page, you will find the purpose and why we are using the wavelength zone, why they created a wavelength zone separately. So wavelength zone is an infrastructure offering optimized for only mobile computing applications. It is only for mobile edge computing application. This is the one thing. If you need a very high speed performance on your mobile applications that you want to launch on AWS infrastructure, and if you are using next generation of technology, let's say 5G, 5G is going to come, right? And the 5G needs more performance, more compute speed, and more close infrastructure near to that new technology. So application traffic from 5G devices reach application server running in wavelength zone without leaving telecommunication network. So this will be integrated. This will integrate with the telecom network. So without leaving telecommunication network, you are able to run mobile edge computing application to provide more speed on 5G applications. So this is a next generation of zones. These are the next generation of zones. So if you are using 5G technology, you should choose wavelength features, right? So it depends. It will provide you high performance to run your application. So this all, everything that is there. Now, one more concept we have, like direct connect. What is a direct connect? Direct connect location. Yes. Let me show you. Do we see direct connect?